Hey, get your meal plan ready. I have 5 quick and easy Weight Watcher meals to share with you. A couple of weeks ago, I bought some prime rib little slider burgers from Sam's Club. We have been dying to try them, so that is what we are having today. Because it is so beautiful outside, I decided to pop these little sliders onto my grill. I am adding some steak seasoning, which is 0 points. These burgers are only 1 point per ounce because they are a lean burger. In the bakery at Walmart, they have rolls, so that's what I'm going to use for buns. Each roll is 3 points. A half a piece of Velveeta cheese is 0 points. Mustard is 0 points. Pickle is 0 points. For a side, I'm just going to keep it simple with some crinkle cut seasoned French fries. These are the Great Value brand. I just recently found these and they are one of our favorites. They are very good. For 10 of these, it is 5 points. And that was dinner on Monday night. This recipe is new to us, but it has everything in it that we absolutely love. It is cheesy baked chicken and mushrooms. In my pan, I have a little bit of olive oil. I have 3 teaspoons of minced garlic, an onion, and I'm adding an 8-ounce container of fresh mushrooms. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt and pepper to this and let this saute together and soften up. I took the mixture and placed it in a bowl, set it aside for a second, adding a little more of that olive oil to the pan. I pounded out my skinless, boneless chicken broth, and to this I'm adding some more salt and pepper, some Italian seasoning, a little bit of garlic powder. The recipe calls for smoked or sweet paprika. I thought I had smoked. I do not. I have regular paprika. It'll be just as good. Once I flip the chicken, I will do the exact same seasonings on the other side. I'm just gonna let this crisp up a little bit in the pan. I removed the chicken from the pan. Now I'm going to pour in a half a cup of chicken broth. Mine is low sodium. I'm gonna scrape up all these little bits that are in the pan, and I'm gonna let this reduce a little bit, about 4 to 5 minutes. I've sprayed a 9x13 baking pan. I'm gonna add half of the mushrooms and onions to the bottom of the pan, placing the chicken on the top of those mushrooms and onions. Now I'm gonna top these with the rest of the mushroom and onion mixture. I'm gonna carefully pour that chicken broth over the top of each piece of chicken. Now I'm going to take 4 ounces of part skim mozzarella cheese, put that over the top of everything. I'm going to cover this with aluminum foil. My oven is preheated 375. I'm going to cook my chicken for about 15 to 20 minutes or until the thermometer reaches the right temperature for chicken. To go along the side of the chicken, I am having some sliced canned potatoes. For 2/3 cup, it is only 1 point. And I'm going to have some green beans, which is 0 points. This was a low point meal. It was only 4 points. This recipe gives a new little spin on Mexican food. I think we have Mexican food at least once a week. This is barbecue chicken tostadas. I shredded up my chicken. You can dice it if you want to. I'm gonna add a little bit of garlic powder. I'm kind of stepping outside of the actual recipe here. And some salt and pepper. I just added in some diced onions. You can use red onion. I don't have red. I only have just white onion or sweet onion. So that's what I'm gonna use. I'm gonna cook this together for a few minutes and let the onion soften up. The recipe does not say to do this, but I added a little bit of barbecue sauce to the chicken to just bump up the flavor also. If you use sugar-free barbecue sauce, the points are 0, I believe, for that, or a lot less than regular barbecue sauce. I laid out the tostadas and I put the chicken on top of each one of the tostadas. Now, if you want to figure this out individually for points, it would be very easy to do. Because the tostadas, you get 2 of them. I believe they're like 4 points is all for 2. And then the sugar-free barbecue sauce is, you know, basically nothing. And mozzarella, fat-free mozzarella, or the part skim mozzarella is pretty low in point too. I drizzled just a little bit of barbecue sauce over each one of the chicken tostadas. So I topped them all with the mozzarella cheese, and I'm going to put them in my oven on 350 for 5 to 8 minutes, just enough basically to melt the cheese. These tostadas are only 5 points per serving, and you can pile on all of the 0 point vegetables. Tomatoes, lettuce, onion, you know. This Southwest Chipotle blackened chicken is cutting down on the sodium, which makes me happy, by using Mrs. Dash. So I have some boneless skinless chicken breast cooking up, and for seasonings I'm using this Southwest Chipotle by Mrs. Dash. This gives really super good flavor to, chicken, beef, pork, whatever your heart's desire. Now that the chicken has cooked up a little bit, I'm going to add a half a cup of salsa, 1 cup of frozen corn, and a can of rinsed and drained black beans. I'm gonna let all of this cook together, then I'll show you my finishing step. The finishing touch is a 1/4 cup of reduced fat Mexican shredded cheese. I'm gonna put the lid on this pan and let this melt, and dinner will be ready. This recipe gave specifics. For 3 ounces of chicken and a half a cup of the bean mixture, it's 5 points. These enchilada stuffed shells are a tried and true recipe. We love them. I actually crave them. They're that good. I found them in Taste of Home years ago, and I've been making them ever since. In the back pan, I have 15 jumbo shells that are boiling up and getting soft. And in my front pan, I have a pound of ground beef. The recipe actually calls for ground turkey. I will be giving you the points for the recipe with ground turkey, but because I'm using ground beef, I'll just adjust my points. So to my ground beef, I've added a little bit of salt and pepper. I've added a little bit of white onion. The recipe calls for dried minced onion. I just prefer fresh over dried. I'm gonna add a 1/4 teaspoon of dried basil, 1/4 teaspoon of dried oregano, and lastly, a 1/4 teaspoon of dried cumin. Next, I like to add in the half a cup of refried beans. To stay within points, get in, if you can find them, get the fat-free refried beans. Now, the recipe says to have the refried beans separate from the meat, but I find that if I let them cook into the meat, it just makes it a lot easier to stuff the shells. I also add just a little bit of the enchilada sauce, but I save out some so that I can coat the bottom of a 9x13 pan. I'm gonna let this simmer together, and then I'm gonna get these shells stuffed. I have all my shells are stuffed. Now I'm going to cover them with some Reynolds wrap, and I'm gonna put them in my oven on 350 for 25 minutes. Then I'm gonna uncover them, sprinkle them with a cup of reduced fat cheddar cheese, put them back in the oven uncovered for 5 more minutes. For 3 stuffed shells using ground turkey, it is 11 points. All of the recipes are linked below. Oh yes, I have more Weight Watcher dinners for you right here. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon.